what I'm going to do, first, I'm going to make sure, since I have my outlines turned on, I'm going to have my thread cutters turned on. Okay, so that's done. Here, needle, minus, and plus. I'm going to click on that because I like to pull up my bobbin thread before it starts quilting. Okay, and we do that by clicking on the +1 button. This is the same on all machines. +1, when I click on that, watch what happens. Okay, click, and what it does, it moves to the starting position. Now, they look like bricks on the screen, but right now, if you look at it in the right angle, it looks like sticks of bamboo laying side by side. Pretty cool. You can see here where it's almost done. It's just going to stitch around that final outline. You can see how it says done. I'm going to click on OK. Now, I'm in my embroidery edit screen. Okay, so I'm in embroidery stitch out. So when you click on that layout button, you see all this stuff pulls up. So to change the hoop in embroidery, you go up here to the settings tab, and on the Altair, it's on page 7. When I get over to the Solaris, I'll show it again over there. And where it says frame size, let me get closer here. Where it says frame size, embroidery frame display is the screen you want to be on. Right here is where you select the size of your hoop for embroidery. You can see if I just use the arrow, I can toggle all through the different sizes of hoops. This is also where you can go to learn what different size hoops are out there for your specific machine. The Altair and the Meridian take the exact same hoops. Now, there are only 4 hoops, though, that have those registration marks on them. And that's the 9.5 by 14, the 9.5 by 9.5, the 5 by 7, and the 4 by 4. The rest of those hoops do not have the registration marks on them. So every machine has a screen that will tell you what size hoops that machine that will fit on that specific machine, every single one. So this is the 9.5 by 14. So I want it set to 9.5 by 14. Click on OK. Now, when I go out of here, when I go into IQ, okay, get a little better grip on this so I can steady it. There we go. So when I go into IQ, all I have to do to set the hoop size in here is go to this little button here that has the circle and the square on it. That's the stamp pattern button. Click on that, touch it, and then see the little embroidery hoop up there? Touch that, and that's where you go to change your hoop size in IQ. And there you can see the different size hoops that are listed in IQ as well. I have the 9.5 by 14, so that's what I'd select. But what if I touch the 8 by 8 and click on OK? Now see what it shows on my screen. It shows the size of that 8 by 8 hoop. If I wanted to change it again, I would select the stamp and pattern button, go back to my hoop size, and put on my big one, the 9.5 by 14, and then it changes it to the outside, but it left that one there. See, here's my red line now, but there's the one I had previously. I don't want that on there. So to get rid of it, I'm going to select that again. To get rid of that, you have to go up here into the settings, select this, click on OK, and it's still there. Simply because when I leave IQ and then come back in, now that 8 by 8 went away. And when I go back into the stamps and patterns, 9.5 by 9.5, it doesn't show it. And by doing this on both screens, you should never get that pesky little error message, change to a larger hoop. Because if you use those two settings, you will not have that issue. You just have to decide before you change them which hoop you're actually going to use, and then that will save that problem. Okay. Another question, having the option to tie off your thread so there won't be knots. This is the same on all machines. So I'm going to go out of IQ, click on OK. Now I'm going to go into embroidery screen, and I'm just going to select anything. I don't care what, just so I can get to the screen to show you this. And you do that, where's embroidery edit is where we're at. Go to embroidery stitch out screen, which is that one. And where the scissors are at the bottom of the screen, that is where you turn off your thread cutters in embroidery. To not have knots on the back of your quilt, turn your thread cutters off and then click on OK. Now, what it'll do if it's moving from one design to another, it is just going to have a long jump stitch for you to manually trim. That's how you don't have little knots on the back of your quilt. Now I'm going to go over and hoop another hoop on the Altair Meridian hoop using the magnetic frame. And then we'll move on to the Solaris after that. Okay.